Absolutely fantastic. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Unic Restoration. Today I've been traveling to the steel supplier and they have made me this fantastic steel profiles that I needed. So now I finally can start with some welding to extend the rear end of the Unic back to its original length that I talked about in the previous video. But the first thing we should take a closer look at it is me and my brother's great trip down to France, to Czech Republic, and all around Europe to pick up parts for this project and some other projects that I have. So enjoy! We started our journey by driving to Oslo to pick up a DKW motorcycle that a friend had sold to a collector in Belgium, and then we drove on to Sweden to deliver the 2 cm flak parts we had on the trailer. After seeing the Uniform Museum and spending a night there, we drove on to Düsseldorf to meet a friend and collector. In his collection he has many Opel vehicles, including an Opel Admiral that belonged to Erik von Manstein. It was absolutely incredible. This one is under restoration and will be painted Panzergrau again, and it has the original leather interior, and it was a real time machine. Then we bought some Opel parts for my cars before we drove on to Belgium to deliver the DKW motorcycle. The bike was delivered in Belgium, and in beautiful summer weather we continued on towards Normandy in France. Finally we arrived at David's house in Normandy. We took a look at the workshop and looked at some of the vehicles he had there, and then we drove to another collection to pick up the front axle for my Unic. Robin found the wardrobe from Narnia. The next day we drove further into Normandy, where we were going to visit a Unic owner with a huge collection of German and French vehicles from World War II, and we were absolutely speechless when we entered the door. All the vehicles had been found in France and restored with only original parts, and all were in fantastic condition. It was running when you...
It's still is running.
Yeah.
So I just put some. And if you want to take pictures, I think it's really better how it was. So,
Yes, I think so too. It's good to start it up and, and drive it.
Phew.
Yeah.
Document everything.
All pictures good to. This is not good.
Edit it out.
Yes, but for running it's better because with old tank, something you have a lot of dust of.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of problem with the original tank, so that's why now a lot of this. On va y mettre une petite gougoute d'essence.
It's
To make the service. Very good engine, powerful, lot of torque.
Very good tone.
yeah.
Very
It's a good feeling when it's done.
This one was
Not so easy to find parts.
Pompe est pleine, donc c'est pas y aller.
Sånn på lyden nå.
That's the problem. I'm too tall. So yeah. For me to drive it, I have to remove the seat.
Ah, voilà.
Trangt.
Voilà.
Peut-être.
Starter. Oui, c'est celui-là.
Starter, c'est celui-là.
fantastic.
It's alright sometimes. German make other system for this vehicle.
Ouais, il y en a eu de cassé en 4 ans.
Ah mais bon, ils ont dû utiliser bien, ils ont dû... Ils ont fait ça pour pouvoir quand même les entretenir s'ils trouvaient de la pièce quoi.
Il y en aurait eu 5 de fait pendant sous l'occupation allemande.
Peut-être, je sais pas.
Sur la cubelle même. Par contre, effectivement, on plaignait de l'Olympia, et elle, il va falloir qu'il remette un œil.
After an absolutely fantastic day visiting this collection, taking measurements of unique parts and driving with Schwimmwagen and Lafley, it was time to drive north again. Now we were on our way to an absolutely fantastic museum which also has a drivable and restored Unique we wanted to take a look at and take measures of. The France 40 Museum has an incredible collection of vehicles and artifacts from the First and Second World Wars, and a newly built section with bunkers from the First World War, with amazing sound effects that will send shivers down your spine, and I will definitely recommend you to visit this museum. It's probably the best in France. We were also lucky enough to be served food that was prepared in a field kitchen. We spent almost the whole day at the museum and took most of the measurements we needed to copy parts, and then we continued our journey north again, where we were going to pick up a set of tracks and rims for my Unique. Later that day we arrived at this beautiful village on the top of a mountain where the parts were. The owner was away on vacation, so we were told to pick up the parts on the steps. We got a lot of strange looks from the locals when two pale Norwegians came driving into this peaceful village. Luckily, no one called the police. These tracks came from an M29 Weasel that the seller has bought as a parts vehicle for another M29 Weasel he was working on restoring. A French company rebuilt several such M29 Weasels after the war and used unique tracks for these tractors. And the rims are from a Citroën Rosalie van. The tracks was very heavy and we had to move the 500 kilo box of parts we were going to deliver to the Czech Republic forward to distribute the weight on the trailer. Luckily we had prepared for this and we had brought a chain hoist with us, but it got stuck and we had to sweat a bit and modify it so we could be able to move the parts forward.
En psycho brass.
Finally everything was strapped to the trailer and we could drive on. Now we headed towards Strasbourg. On the way we drove past many of France's road stations that would never let us pass without us having to contact the staff. Hello, I want to pay for the ticket.
What is ticket?
I have the ticket in my hand,
Okay,
but
put in?
machine won't take it.
Okay, that's my name. And now, is it good?
No.
Okay, can you give me number on ticket, please? Hello?
Yes, there is no number.
Yes, it's begin by 0, 7,
It's Sanef.
4.
It says only Sanef and there is a black arrow pointing one way.
Oh, can you give me number on ticket, please?
Where is it, the numbers?
On the ticket, it's begin by 07.
The next morning we arrived at the MM Park Museum in Strasbourg. It took many hours to look at all the vehicles, including our Unique in German colors. I had hoped to see my old tank that I sold in 2018, but it was Saturday and the people at the workshop were gone, so that will have to be another time in the future.
Pourquoi ils vont travailler sur un
Norsk. Park was a great museum, but we had seen enough vehicles and we got in the car and drove towards the Czech Republic when we started to getting error messages from the car. The car had to go to the workshop and they tried to repair it, but the AdBlue tank had to be replaced and several sensors. Once again, modern technology that doesn't work. We stayed in that city for several days, hoping the car would be repaired, but ended up that we had to fly back to Norway and pick up the car 2 weeks later. We met our friend Marek, looked at some of his projects and went to a pub. The next day we went to Lear Military Museum to look at some of the projects the museum is working on. After visiting the Lear Military Museum, we drove further into the Czech Republic with a rental car to visit another unique owner, maybe the only one in the Czech Republic. There we took measurements of the frame and small parts that are missing. The owner had been kind enough to take off the cargo bed, so it was easier for me to take the measurements. He is looking for an original radiator for his Unique, so if anyone has one, please get in touch so we can help him buy one. The next day we flew back to Norway, and 2 weeks later we flew back the same way to pick up the car that has been repaired. And finally we got to pick up the belt system for my Unique and my other parts. On the way to Germany, we passed through yet another museum in Prague that we had to stop and look at. The National Technical Museum in Prague. Since it was the last day of our trip, we decided to go have a beer in the city. It ended up being several beers, and we got some Schnelle Brille. The next day we went home to the fire department in Gussen to deliver the Bussing engine I had sold. Luckily they had the right equipment to lift it off with. The fire department is restoring one of Germany's oldest remaining fire engines, and I'm really happy that my engine that came from the Frankenstein truck vehicle is getting such a good home. and we got to fulfill our childhood dream of being in the very top of a ladder truck before we continued on towards Norway.
Crazy. This is funny. Oh, 30 meters.
31 and that's it. 31.
Once again, thank you for watching. Make sure to push the like button and subscribe. And hopefully next time there will be some real progress on this project. See you next time!